remember sitting at my desk in my room at Fletcher Hall last year, around March, and just working on homework. I felt this voice inside of me quietly but clearly say, go to Medora. And I was like, okay.
Well, I didn't actually plan on going on a project. I thought it was something I would do in the future, thought it was something I would put off because I had made my own summer plans, but then it wasn't until March that, towards the end of the sign-up deadline, that God just kind of showed me that I should be experiencing this growth at this point in my life so I can just use it that much sooner. So I went for it, and He provided a way for me to go.
At the end of last summer, I felt God calling me to project, and I don't know why, but I instantly knew that I really wanted to go to France. I just instantly felt called there. It was just kind of like a pull on my heart, and I never kind of second guessed it or anything.
I felt called to go on project to Tanzania at TCX this past winter. For a while, I was kind of wanting to go on project, but not knowing where and thinking I had to decide. But then for a couple months, I was just praying to God, like, God, reveal to me, where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go?
I think I just completely became committed to using this past summer to serve Him. And I think my heart was just fully focused on fulfilling what I felt He called me to use my summer for.
Well, on an average day, we would spend the morning in prayer, just praying for the college students, for our project and other projects as well. And then we'd go on campus for about 4 to 5 hours and really just get to know the students. We went up to them and would just simply ask, like, can we see Paris through your eyes? So we would try to get coffee with them, or we'd go to their favorite crepe place and just really get to know them. And then in hopes, we would try to have second or third appointments and share the gospel that way.
I think the Badlands Summer Project is incredibly unique in the sense that evangelism really is played out in relationships. So we work jobs, we hang out with friends, and so our mission is really to get to know the people that we live our daily life with, and just get into their lives and learn how we can care for them, minister for them, and share Jesus with them.
One of the funniest moments I can think of is one of the last Bible studies I got to spend with my roommates. I had the opportunity to lead the Bible study, and I decided that we would have a shirtless candlelit Bible study.
Typically at a high school setting, we would teach them things that we take for granted here that we learn about. We taught them about how to have healthy relationships, about staying away from drugs and alcohol, about excelling academically and setting goals. And then we would always end the assemblies with sharing the gospel with them, giving them an opportunity to accept Jesus into their hearts, and then 1 or 2 team members would usually share their testimony with them.
Something that was definitely a little scary was not knowing the language. So the language barrier was kind of frightening at first, just kind of getting around. Or ordering food, something that small, seemed really scary because I had no idea what I was saying.
There's several opportunities where I had to step out in my faith and be bold, whether that be going to a house party and not adhering to that lifestyle and trying to show people that your lifestyle is different, whether it be approaching just someone on the beach you're not comfortable with approaching, and I think that God's grace gives us boldness because we really only need to impress Him, because it's really only His opinion that matters.
Sharing the gospel with the French students was very different from America. They were very open, they were very giving with their time, and they simply just wanted to know what we believed. They would tell us what they believed, what they grew up with, but then they would always ask, like, what do you believe in? Why do you believe it?
There's a lot of instances in North Myrtle Beach where you're out on the beach daily, approaching people who are on vacation, and they most likely don't want to take time to talk to a college student who says, hey, I want to talk about God, or what's your experience with faith and beliefs. And I can think of a time when me and a friend approached a group of about 9 students, and we were able to just talk about spiritual things through all of them. And it takes an amount of boldness, but God comes through, and we're able to clearly illustrate the gospel to like a group of that size.
The first time sharing in front of over 200 students at an assembly, in front of everyone, watching them all bow their heads and pray with you as you're praying the prayer with them, it was just, I'll never forget it. It was so incredible.
One thing I really love about living and working in Medora is that you're surrounded by so many international students because they all flock from all over the world to work in this little tourist town of Medora. And so it's incredible how we have the opportunity to reach the world just by going to North Dakota. My friend Jason and I got to go talk to a group of high school students, and we got to go through the entire Knowing God personally booklet with them. And one gal ended up accepting Christ, and it was incredibly awesome to see how God used me in my moment of most discomfort, when I was most out of my comfort zone, when I chose to trust in Him the most. That's when He used me to help draw someone to Himself.
My favorite day of ministry in Africa was, we went to one orphanage. Our team split up into 2 groups, and we each went to a different one. And the orphanage I was at had kids in age ranging from less than 1-year-old to about 18 years old. There was one little boy there named Isaac who was about 2.5 or 3, and he just was so shy. He had on little pink pants and he was adorable. And we finally learned his name, and he just kept coming up to me, reaching up, wanting me to hold him. So I was holding him for a while, playing with him. And then when we were getting ready to leave, he reached up again for me to pick him up, and he just hugged me and he wouldn't let go. Really, really impactful day, and I just discovered so many different areas and passions that I have, and I hope to be able to go back and just work with orphans or in an orphanage somehow.
I saw a lot of growth in leadership. I was able to co-lead prayer time, which was in the morning. Monday through Friday we had prayer meetings each morning, and it increased my heart for prayer, and also just in general as a leader, leading just a body of students and also adults.
My time on the Badlands Summer Project really impacted me spiritually in a couple of ways. The first way was it really helped me reorient myself and my life towards Christ, and just spend really my whole summer thinking on Him, learning more about who He is and what He wants for me, and getting to serve Him in faith.
God definitely opened up my eyes to more injustices all around the world, and not just in Oshkosh, not just my hometown or in America, but even in France, there's stuff going on there too.
I just learned so much about patience with other people and patience in God's timing, because even when you think that things won't work out or plans might fall through, God always provides a way. He never left us hanging.
This is a time in your life where God really wants to pour into you and use you in powerful ways. And I think that when we take the step of faith, of trusting Him and going where He leads us, mighty things do happen.
You should go on a summer project because you get to travel and experience new cultures. You also get to take a step of faith and trust God with just the unknown. And therefore you get to see Him move in new ways that you've never seen Him move before.
I think if you go all 4 years of college being involved in Cru and not going on a summer project, I think you missed one of the best things that we do as an organization, as a movement.
I think you should go on a project if you desire to look at God through a different lens and have a strong community of believers who support you and share your love of God.
God has, His plans made, and He calls us to be a part of it. And I think it's just incredibly humbling and encouraging that He calls me to help build His kingdom. He calls you to help build His kingdom. When you surrender time like a summer, or a few weeks even, to God and say, where do you want me to go? Where do you want to use me? You'll see things you can't even imagine happen in your own life and in the lives of people that He'll use you to touch.